Well, KSI joins us now, and it's lovely to have you here today.
Yeah,
congratulations on everything, basically. But this documentary, 2 years in the making, and yes, in one way, it's a success story, but actually it's a lot more than that, because you really do show a very vulnerable side of you.
Yeah, I really open up in this doc, and it's crazy because I didn't expect to.
Did you not?
I was just there like, oh, I'm just getting paid for them to just film me, do what I do naturally, normally. And then Wes, who was behind the camera filming me the whole time, started asking me more and more questions, and it just got deeper and deeper, and then became really, like, therapeutic.
I suppose it's important for you, I mean, it was important for you, that you show a human side. It's very easy to separate the media mogul, the person who has multi-million fans, and actually go, hold on a second, there is, as you say, a work in progress behind all this.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really know what to expect from the doc, so it's kind of, I guess it's cool that it humanized me and it showed that I am human, and essentially, like, even with everything that's going on, like, it's just, I'm just me, that's just how I am, and, like, I think people started to realize and go, oh, wow, you know what, we see him on YouTube do all these crazy things, but when he's just himself behind the camera, when, you know, everything's turned off, he is just a normal human being.
But you forgot that. I mean, you forgot your human side. Like, to be fair, you were so focused on the success and this sort of drive you have and this career and getting to where you want to go. You sort of let your well-being slip and slide a little.
Well, it's so easy to, you know, let it slip, especially on social media, because you can get so, like, focused on the numbers and focus on, like, just trying to be the person at the top, where to the point where you just forget about your whole mental health and everything, and you're just there like, I need to be getting as many views as possible, I need to get as many likes as possible and all of this. So I definitely lost my way, and I feel like, you know, therapy helped me tremendously and made me understand what's really important to me, what my values and my purpose in life is.
Good for you.
So, that kid, was it 2009 when you sort of start the whole...
Yeah, around then. It varies sometimes.
So, what was the idea before all of this? Because you got a strict family.
Yeah.
And so, how did it happen? What were you wanting to achieve?
So, at the time, you know, there was no money on YouTube. There was no way to make money. It was just like this community of people who were putting out content online. And the community that I loved the most was the gaming community. I loved, like, posting clips of me playing FIFA. And back then it was like FIFA 07, so I'd just be doing skills and adding, like, montage music behind it, whether it be like Linkin Park or Red or all these other bands, you know, putting it into the background of the music just to make it really, like, pop out. And then, yeah, I would send it to friends on Twitter, and everyone would be like, oh, check out my video, check out my video, and we'll just be, like, going back and forth. And it was cool because, you know, as an introverted kid, I didn't really have many people to talk to outside of the house. Like, I kind of kept to myself. And even in school, I was in the nerdy group. As in, like, there's a house called Adders, which, I mean, it's funny that I'm saying this online, but, or I'm saying this here, but Adders was definitely, like, the place where everyone who was just super nerdy and, like, seen as losers were there. So there was even one point where someone actually wanted to change house because they were like, I won't say his name, but the guy was, like, looking around like, I can't be here. So he actually requested to the school, can I move to a different house? So he moved.
But listen, there was money to be made, and it obviously started gathering traction. It started to do very well. I think it was your sixth form teacher when you said, I'm making...
So eventually, obviously, with advertisers started hopping in, being like, oh, there's a lot of views here. So they started pumping money into it, and it got to a point where I was actually starting to make money. You know, I remember I made like $100 was the first amount that I made, and I was so gassed. I bought like an Armani suit, the same one from that Giggs was wearing in Game Over with Tinsha Strider. But anyway, it got to a point where I talked to my teacher, being like, you know, I'm making this amount, and he was like, how much is it? I was like, 1,500 a month. And he was like, that's more than me. And I was like, rah. And at that point, I was like, all right, I'm out.
See ya.
Yeah. I don't need to be here anymore.
So at what point then? Because I read the reaction from your folks this morning, because I remember when I said, and I was probably about the same age at the time, said to my folks I want to get into television or radio, and my dad said, and they were always massively supportive after that, my dad said, well, that's fine for a hobby.
Yeah.
And so, and thankfully it proved not to be just a hobby. For you, proving to them that this is a worthwhile profession. It was not the profession they had in mind for you.
Well, they wanted me, you know, as traditional African parents, they wanted me to be a lawyer, doctor, engineer, all of that. And I had no interest in that. First of all, I just wasn't smart enough. That was just a lot for me to do. And, you know, I couldn't go into sports because I was just terrible.
Not bad at boxing, though.
I mean, I wish I knew that back then. But, yeah, I was just terrible at all of that. So, you know, I told my parents I want to be a YouTuber. And they laughed. They were just like, oh, we worked, you know, so hard to get you into private school, to get you, you know, we're in debt, so much debt, just to get you into that best position possible. And you want to just throw it away to be a YouTuber. And I was like, yes.
How long was it before you paid them back? Because you actually did
pay
off their mortgage.
Got rid of all the debt, got rid of everything.
Well,
and they're just
unbelievable.
like, they're just over the moon.
So listen, the success continues. Obviously, there's the boxing. I came to see you the other night with my son, and you were amazing. Well done. Congratulations, you won. But also, there's the music. I mean, it's non-stop. You've just released your new single, Voices, with Oliver Tree. Let's just have a little look at that.
I can't stop dreaming about you. Wanna close my eyes and watch us drift away. Yeah. I let go every time I hear those voices in my head. My head. I run home every time I get those voices in my head. My head.
So you say that this song sort of marks a bit of a new chapter for you. In what way?
Well, it was actually, I made it during the time where I broke up with my girlfriend, during the time where I was just kind of confused and I didn't really understand, like, what I wanted in life. So I was trying to decide whether I wanted to be this boss, alpha male figure that just, you know, does what he wants, or if I want to be my true self, as in, you know, introverted, quiet, etc. So I was just caught in two minds with that, and then that's, you know, a song that made me do it. Yeah.
So there's obviously there's the drinks, which just
Do you know where I can get some?
I've actually brought some. I brought some.
Well, you
can sell them.
Let's put it straight on eBay, because you can get up to 53 quid a bottle for that stuff.
It's crazy. Even on TikTok, I'm scrolling, I'm seeing people just selling it for like £20 a bottle, and I'm like, what's going on, guys?
54 is the highest we've seen. £54 a bottle.
54.
So the thing is that you know you've got the obviously the boxing, you've got the drinks, you've got the music, you've got everything that you do. you are a role model.
Yes.
And being a role model initially tripped you up. You didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, at the time, when I was younger, I felt like it was just a lot of pressure. I was like, I'm just a guy that is making content on YouTube. Like, why am I now being seen as a role model? Like, I'm just a normal guy. Like, leave me alone. Whereas now, I just know so many people are inspired by the content I make. Even with, like, the doc, people have hit me up being like, you've inspired me so much to want to talk to my parents more and want to, really, like, improve my family relationship, because it's something a lot of people just forget about, or even with an African background have a bit of trouble having to deal with that. So I think it was cool that as a role model, like, I tried to be the best person I can, and I'm human, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but I try to every time I do make a mistake, try to improve on it and show everyone, like, there's always better ways to be. And
there is a. I mean, obviously there's a pressure in that, but there is also this incredible influence that you have. Everything that you do is massively successful. You draw attention.
No, definitely
pretty
not.
much so. Pretty much so. You draw attention.
I tried crypto and failed. I lost millions.
We should have warned you about that one. One of the things that we talked about this just before we started the interview, before we came on air, and you saw little Bodie earlier on, and his pants for leukemia thing. He was wearing his pants on his head, and I did ask you did say yes. And what's extraordinary is that you do this, and it will be huge. We do it. We do it, and it's it's sort of.
Stop.
I'm going to give you some
let me do it.
They are clean.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, they're not. They're mine. I took them off this morning. It's pants to leukemia.
I should be taking a picture of this as well, so I can put it on.
Yeah, it's on the
table. People will make this a meme. I love it.
It's definitely going to be a meme.
You wear them well. Very good. Perfect. Thank you very much.
You can take them off now.
The documentary.
You're going to keep them on?
Yeah.
Well done. The documentary is very good. KSI in real life, and it's on Prime Video, and you can see that now. Thank you.
No worries.
There's a shot I didn't think we'd be seeing.